This is Passion for Your Passions, a show where we reminisce about the past and plan for the future. I'm Krista.
And I'm Julie. And today we're talking about us.
Looks like we made it.
I say, I'm already halfway there. Halfway there.
Go get some snacks. Perhaps a carbonated soda. I hope they have ices.
So, we have officially made it to halfway through doing this. Well, once this episode is posted, it's a little bit weird, but
You get it.
yeah. In terms of what are we at? We're at like 15? Is that what we decided was halfway?
I think so.
All I know is that it's been 6 months since we started this journey. We posted on as close to January 1st as was humanly possible, or we did post on January 1st.
We did, because we were like, what day should we post? And I was like, well, the first is on Friday. That just seems like fate. Let's do that.
Yeah. And so now we just kind of want to talk about things. We had our very first episode, which was the introduction episode, and this is kind of like the introduction again, where we just want to talk about how we feel about how things currently are, things that we hated, things, I don't know, I guess that we felt medium about, things that we really liked, things that we were like, meh. I sort of hated that, but like not enough to complain about it. You know how I'm
Just
feeling.
roll with it.
So
I feel like that's mostly our mood now. We're like, fuck it. Just fucking do it.
well, I mean, most of this, okay, so that, that could be one thing that we could start talking about is just, all of the reminiscing of when we first started, how just anal we were about everything.
We were, how many times did we record the intro? It was like 6 times, I feel like.
That seems like too many.
Well, I think we kept starting it. I think we legitimately had 3 full ones done where we start to finish, and then we would go through and be like, this isn't working. We need to do it again.
I know. I mean, not to go way too far off track, but I know that the video game one was hard.
Right.
I think the first video game one, because we were like, this doesn't make any sense. Every time we keep recording this, I'm like, yeah, there's parts of this that are funny, but we keep talking about Voldemort for some reason. I can't make us stop.
Yeah, I think our first 2 or 3 episodes we recorded twice, bare minimum.
I don't remember why we recorded I know we had some problems. I think that might have been what it was. Is I think the first time we recorded the intro, we might have had audio problems, which problems. Do we want to talk about audio problems? I mean, we have so many things that we could talk about just for the past of this, which no, I do want to talk about audio problems because look, to give people behind the scenes of podcasts, because I don't feel like people talk about this stuff so much. You'll hear YouTubers talk about this, you'll hear anybody talk about this. Anybody who's ever had a microphone will tell you audio just is the bane of everything. And I have learned this to be true, because if you move the needle slightly on anything, it changes everything. And then all of a sudden you're looking at your footage or your recording or whatever you call it. You're looking at your recording and you're like, what the? I can't fucking hear what Julie is saying occasionally. It just cuts her off.
Well, what cracks me up is the audio line that shows you the ups and downs. There'll just be a blank. It's just blank. And then it's me talking. I'm like, why doesn't it register that I'm in here? And I'll try to amp it up and it's it didn't change what it looks like. When I'm talking, I can hear it.
Yeah. It'll just be Julie in the background mumbling about probably Voldemort.
No, we haven't talked about Voldemort as much lately.
Yeah, but then we are talking about Harry Potter soon.
Yeah.
So
I think we just tapered so that we could amp up for it. Keep the audience wanting.
We will be talking about Voldemort to the extreme.
Right.
I have feelings about Voldemort.
You do? I mean, who doesn't?
I mean, probably different feelings.
Not those kind of feelings.
It's just, there's a lot. Okay, we shouldn't talk about Voldemort right now. This isn't relevant.
This was the problem in the intro. No, the intro, we didn't talk about it.
Okay. So as for our past mistakes, is there anything else that we want to mention there? Is there anything that you feel very strongly about. I have, like, some things that I could talk about, like, things that I said that I feel like I missaid. But I'll let you go first.
I think a lot of it is just how we speak. We become very aware of how annoying we are as people very quickly.
Yeah.
I can literally see the laugh that annoys me when I'm recording. Like, there it is. It's that stupid, I call it the bonefish laugh because of how it looks. I'm like, there's my bonefish laugh that I fucking hate. And so there's a lot of just curbing how we speak and how we know that we say like too much. But when you hear recording, you want to stab yourself in the face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I already, like, oh god. I already have issues with how much I like myself as a person. You would think
Made it worse.
You would think that this would be the worst scenario, and there are times, believe me. I think especially at the beginning, I would text Julie and I'd be like, I want to stab a pencil through my eye. I'm so angry. And then I would get to a point where I'm like, just fuck it. I'm just putting it out. I can't do this. I can't listen to myself anymore.
Yeah, definitely in the beginning, I literally tried to cut as many words that I was saying as possible. Anytime one of us said like at the end, I would try to cut it. Like, it's unnecessary. We don't need to say it there. And then as it's come around, both of us have gotten a little more, it's fine. Nobody gives a shit but us. Yeah, it's fine. We're the only ones that notice this.
No, it just annoys me, really. And it's mostly the likes and the ums, although ums are easier because you can
cut it out.
Yeah, is easy to cut out. Like is harder, especially when you're like, I like the.
So I like that it like did this thing that like, we'll get those where there'll just be chunks of that, and you have to listen to it and want to scratch your face off and just say, can I just cut that whole thing? Is that needed?
And then you cut it out, and you're like, wow, this doesn't make any sense. When
Snap.
It turns out 3 of those words that I said were extremely important to the story I was telling.
Can I just cut more?
I'm just gonna cut the whole episode.
Cut that whole thing out. It's fine.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of those. I mean, you know, talking over each other. So, some of that is probably a little bit confusing because we do record together, which is interesting because a lot of people don't do that. People who do podcasts, a lot of times they'll record separately. Like our friends on our friend podcast, they record separately. I know they do because they talk about it all the time. Should I mention them? If I mention
Radio Free Tote Bag. They're the bomb.
Okay.
I don't know how else to. They're a friend of ours. Arthur was helping us with some of the technical difficulties and kind of helping us in the beginning, and we may or may not have them guest and vice versa, but right now they have no benefit in guesting here.
Yeah, that, you know, if they did that, that would just be them being super dope people, and there's a part of me that would feel terrible.
Yeah, like, you have no benefit in coming onto ours, so we're trying to wait until it's like, we matter a little bit, so you can help, like, come over. They do a relationship podcast, because as the title implies, like, nobody really knows what that means, including myself. So they do a relationship advice. It's really... What I really like about it is that I agree with pretty much everything, which I find very strange, especially not to say anything about it. It's 2 men where I'm like, well, what kind of perspective are you really going to have on the realms? But I've not had an episode where I went, that's not, I wouldn't say that. I usually agree with them and their advice.
It is a podcast that is not super for me, but I do enjoy listening to it, which is a very good compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm weird about, like, some of the advice stuff sometimes because, like, I think, like, I tend to like things that are more
relaxing and silly.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just, like, when I'm listening to stuff like that, I'm listening to it for the drama. Like, I want you to tell me about your workplace. Like, oh my gosh, like, this guy got fired and it was like he tried to stab a guy. Like, that's what I'm interested in when I'm into drama. So when it's, like, really, like, chill relationship stuff, it doesn't always.
It does have some drama in it. They'll be reading stories and be like, what the fuck?
Well, most of the time, though, it's really awkward scenarios.
Oh, right.
It's like, oh, yeah, oh, God. Do I even really want to say this? I'm trying to debate how much I want to say. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah. We've talked way too long about Radio Free Tote Bag. We should
listen to Radio Free Tote Bag. You heard it here, all 2 of you that may listen to this episode.
Yeah, listen to me being flustered talking about Radio Free Tote Bag. Yeah. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, let me get into Okay, there is at least one mistake that I had when I was talking about, like, a past episode that I wanted to talk about. And okay, so this one is kind of a funny one, which is part of the reason why I want to talk about it, is when we had the Authors with Bad Lives one. So I was talking in there about how I want books to have, like, ratings on the back of them. And one part of it that I forgot to mention, which I think is, like, kind of important to that part of when I was talking about that, is that I don't mind books that are gory or graphic or sexual or whatever. That's not really the problem. It's so, like, a lot of times when I'm listening to books or reading books or whatever, I'm around people. And there is, like, this thing where if I'm listening to that stuff, I will get very uncomfortable. Even though they can't hear it, I know that they can't, but there is something about it where it's like, I can't do this. Or even the other example of this would be, like, if I'm trying to go to sleep. Like, if I'm trying to go to sleep, it's like, I don't want
to get turned on all of a sudden. Like,
or be horrified.
Yeah.
That's a great way to go to sleep.
I mean, they started that with the not safe for work post, but I guess books clearly don't do that. They're like, why are you reading at work or listening to this?
Well, I don't know. The job that I work, I have, like, a level of, there's times when I can be listening to stuff, and it's helpful. It kind of, like, gets me in the zone, this and that. And yeah, I wish that there was a better system, so that way it's not me just picking out a book and listening to it and being horrified and being like, well, I can't listen to this anymore. And then I feel like I have nothing to listen to, or I just listen to random music. But anyway, I wanted to specifically mention that one because I thought that one was funny when I was listening to Authors with Bad Lives, which also, if you out there haven't listened to Authors with Bad Lives, it is one of my favorites. So, continuing reminiscing. Yeah, I listened to that one probably 4 times just because of, I think I had, like, some issues I had to fix or something. So I listened to it a bunch and I was entertained, like, all 4 times. So
every time. So great. I really like the comedy TV one, I think, because it's just so random and weird that we go back and forth between being really intense and political to be like, hey, there's this really dumb show. Like, go watch it.
I do. I think that was around the time when we started to really just lean into it. Mm-hmm. We were like, yeah, we're gonna rant. We're gonna talk about this political stuff. It's fine. Because I think at the beginning we were trying to be, I mean, I don't want to say like we were trying to be PC, but
or impartial, or
kind of PC,
right?
So,
yeah, and I think that was the first episode we used a soundbite, isn't it? Or is that the second one?
I don't remember if we did in that one.
Because you did the nope, like with my
cussing. Yeah. Yeah, I did because you... Yeah,
I had to. It's the quote.
It was fine. And I think if we cussed more often and more harshly, it would have been fine. It's just, it was very random and in the middle, and yeah.
Made you uncomfortable.
It just, yeah, it didn't seem quite right in that moment, but okay. So are we done talking about our past mistakes?
I guess.
Well, okay, well, we can talk about sort of some things that are more present, including, since you were really upset about it.
What? What?
Us not having story time.
But why not?
So, I don't have a problem with story time. I think that my sort of issue that I have with story time is, I think, for one thing, I think we kind of veered off the path that we set for story time, which was very short, like 2 minutes or less, and then it starts. And that's very difficult to do, right? Because, I mean, the types of stories that we're telling, they're not that short. There's layers to it. There's us reacting and this and that. And I don't think that that's bad. It's just that I almost wonder if we should do it more towards the middle or something. Because, so, a thing in other podcasts is like having bits, you know, where it's like a thing that you come back to regularly. So we could still have story time be a bit. It's just, I think at the beginning, what the problem is it takes so long for us to get to the point.
Okay.
that was kind of my feeling about it, but I don't hate story time. I do like it. Normally it's very funny and I do enjoy it. It's just, it takes 7 minutes or 10 minutes of us talking about things before we then talk about Marvel or whatever it is that we're talking about. So I could see how we might lose people, essentially.
Okay. So you want to put it in the middle or the end?
Yeah, and maybe if we do some things with music, which we can talk about more in the future section, maybe that would work.
This is your intermission for this episode. Feel free to skip to, and then an automated voice like that point in the story.
9 hours.
10. All right.
We're on. Yeah. So that's one of the things. I will say, like, because we were just talking about this, I do like the ranting. I love our stupid random episodes. I think for a while I kind of fought against it, but now every time it's gardening, Yu-Gi-Oh! And just the contrast, that lovely contrast in our personalities on both sides.
Well, what cracks me up is people are like, you two are so similar. I'm like, we're really not. Like, they're like, our moralities are in line, which I think is the most important thing to really have with someone. I was like, everything else is chaos. Like, if we were the exact same people, we'd hate each other because we hate ourselves. Like, so this is not going to work out that way.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that's always funny to me, though, is that I'm surprised you haven't wanted to have a more chaotic episode.
I think the one time you pick a normal episode, I'll be like, now's my time to shine. And I'll just do something really fucking dumb.
What would your chaotic episode be if you had an idea?
If I had an idea. The only thing that comes to mind is making flowers out of random material.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, because I've done that my entire life for whatever reason.
I don't know if that would take an hour, but you know what? I didn't necessarily think Authors with Bad Lives was going to take an hour.
Well,
but
it's because I have future goals with this. I have past, present influences.
Someday I want to make a flower out of diamond.
Dude. I want to make flower lamps out of all sorts of material. I want to master all the materials and make the most beautiful fantasy flower lamps.
When I was a kid, I used to have one of those touch lamps that was a flower, and I miss it.
See, I could make you one.
I want one.
See, there you go. That, or I'd do wind chimes. I'm really obsessed with wind chimes right now.
Yeah, fair. I have a jellyfish wind chime that you gave me. It's right there. I don't know if anybody can actually see it the way that it's in the window, but it's there.
It's there. It's a thing. So yeah, I could do one of those.
Okay, cool. What about you? What about our present? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to just go on.
Jeez.
Sorry. I just realized we were on a very
weird tangent.
Yeah, so I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about?
I like this too, that before we'd like cut all this. We just like, no, they can't know that we went on a tangent or whatever. Now we're just like, wait, what?
No, yeah. The tangents are the essence.
The essence of our personality. The gold in this
chaotic podcast that is ultimately about nothing,
right?
But everything.
And everything.
Okay. So what else do you like about the present, about our current content? Things that you definitely want to keep?
I am so excited about adding sound bites. I've been wanting it since the beginning, and now it's a thing, and it's just my favorite part. I'm always like, I'm going to spend an hour looking for sound bites to put into this thing.
I know. So, I mean, at the time of recording this, I haven't done all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yet, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to have to find some Yu-Gi-Oh! Sound bits, and it's going to be choice.
It's gonna be gold.
Depending on how I do it, which I hope will be exciting. If it's not, this will just be embarrassing. We'll have to cut this.
Cut this out, like, after Yu-Gi-Oh's released. Like, no. Yeah, the sound bites are probably my favorite, on top of just my other favorite thing is just we're picking up new traditions, like new things we've just decided to do. And so I love at the very end that we just put all the nonsense sounds that were like, these didn't really work, but we like them. So if you want to stay after, like, you can just listen to this random shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of that in Marvel because there was all these parts, because we had to do in the background of Marvel, you know, like rolling for things and this and that, and we would talk about it, but it didn't really make sense to keep it in there because we were just
transitioning.
Yeah, we were trying to figure things out, basically. But there were parts of it that were so funny. Like, when you got Iron Fist, and you're like, I got Iron Fist. You're so angry. So I put that all at the end, and then us singing, because we did We did
We do a lot of singing.
That's fair. That's what happens when you're in the theater.
Exactly.
And, you know, and you watch as much musical
Bullshit as
crap
we do.
as we do.
Yeah, I think they're getting better. Like, they're just making me laugh more and more at the end. Because I think the last one I posted, it just goes, "What's up, bitches?"
Yeah.
And I go, "Fuck!" Like, right at the end. Like, just... Like, that's choice. Is beautiful.
Yeah, I think I know which one I'm going to use for Yu-Gi-Oh! I think. So we will see if it happens. There's still some things I need to fix with Yu-Gi-Oh! But, you know, that's the way this goes.
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
All right, so is that it? Is that all that we like about our present? Do we want to go to our future and, you know, do the going back over the goals, what our revamp would look like? Because we have been talking about revamping some things,
Right.
which I don't know if that interests people or not. It interests me because it has to.
Because I have to care or I won't do it.
Because I have to put an effort into things.
Right.
And, you know, like drawing and, you know, looking at Podbean and looking at YouTube and looking at all these things and, you know, wondering things.
And texting me like, "Hey, did you do this thing?" Right, on it.
Outline.
I'm doing it right now. My bad.
Text all the people.
Yeah.
Ask for the guests. That is the most future part of this. We
Yes.
gotta get some guests. I don't know if that was in our goals. Was that in our goals?
It was. We said on the intro, we were like, basically, eventually be nice, but we were very loose. We're like, if that doesn't happen in this year, then, you know.
Quick, rewind back the tape.
Do it now.
See, did we say anything about guests?
I love you, but
Okay, so we do want to have guests. We have some plans for a couple of guests. We're hoping that that's gonna go well.
Because everything goes so smoothly for us every time.
Yeah, I think it'll work out. I think some of the ones that you're gonna pick, I think it'll work out. That's what I'm gonna put out in the universe, because if not, you know, my life is chaos.
I'm gonna hate every moment of this. Well, I think if we do it for our next one, then it'll be mind edit.
The guest? Yeah.
So
Either that or you'll get Harry Potter. You'll get to listen to my choice thoughts about Voldemort. My choice 10.
I have some choice thoughts on Snape, so
I
and
shouldn't.
Dumbledore.
I shouldn't vamp this up. I really
No.
because I'm gonna regret it. People are gonna be like, "Why didn't you talk about Voldemort?"
Like, fuck.
I don't know, because I need to talk about Jenny. Okay, we need to
Stop talking about Harry Potter.
We have a whole episode. Okay,
It's a little longer.
so things that we want to revamp, other goals that we want to visit, all of this stuff. So I think one thing that I've been working on is I am fixing our art a little bit. I like our art. I like our art to a certain degree. I know that it's obviously fairly generic, and I get that. You know, I'm not... So,
I just love that Yo-Yo Ma's there, like, amongst all this. He's just like, "Hey, guys,
Yeah.
I'm really normal." Hey, Kylo. Or not Kylo, it's the Reverend. I'm like, "Hey, Reverend."
Reverend, yeah. But, okay, so part of the thing is I'm not so up my own ass that I don't realize that we haven't talked about any of the things that are in our picture, and also that, you know, I just kind of drew it very casually.
We talked about Mario Galaxy.
A little.
That's one.
Oh my gosh. Whoa, that's so long ago. Oh, I didn't even remember that we talked about video games. I mean, I knew in my soul, but I think I also blocked it out in my soul.
Because it was a hard episode.
It took so long.
It was so
Oh my gosh, and we talked about Dragon Age for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I blocked that out of my soul.
Things, trauma you go through.
I mean, not that I'm embarrassed. I love video games, but whew,
You're wearing a Dragon Age shirt right now.
I am. And I ripped the shirt this morning putting on deodorant.
You know how many times I hulk out of shirts? I hulk out of shirts all the time. I'm like, God damn it. Like, and then I have a Samuel Jackson shirt that's just him, like, staring really intently. Wore it one day and it ripped right, like, where my belly button is. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what even?
I don't know. This one was really random too, because I just put on deodorant and then it was like, why? This doesn't happen. I've never had this happen
It happens
before.
to me all the time. Welcome to
Well,
my world.
I had to put on a second shirt, and it was a shame.
And approps.
It was a shame. A great
I
embarrassment.
just let everyone witness. the
Well,
rip
it
test.
was not in an appropriate spot.
It's your upper body.
Well, I'm
Unless
just...
it's like right in the center of your front. I think it's fine. Look at my cleavage, world.
Well, I mean, some people do that. But
I do, but we're not those people.
It would be pretty weird on a t-shirt, though.
I want to have a t-shirt that says "Look at my cleavage," but then it's like really high top scoop net, like
Yeah,
doesn't
there's
show
no-
any.
there's no
Doesn't show any.
You know, I will say, the other day I wore, so the other shirt that you got me, the Galaxy Quest shirt, every time I wear that shirt, I do realize that I feel a little bit uncomfortable because people read my shirt, and I'm like,
Welcome to my world as well. People will actively, like, I just pull it out. Like, now you
Yeah.
don't have to feel like you're looking at my tits.
yeah, well, but for that one particularly, for some reason, people do. It doesn't happen to me with, I think, almost like any of my other shirts. Or if it does, apparently they get the gist fast enough. But for that one, it's like, I can see people doing
Processing.
it. Yeah, and it's like, I am having a conversation with you. You need to stop
Look
right
it down.
now. So,
Yeah, this is my life.
okay. Oh, man, we are really
Rambling.
getting off topic. So,
Well, we don't have a lot of topics anyways.
Well, I mean, we have topics.
We have a structure.
We have, because we haven't even really talked about all of the things that we want to revamp. I didn't even finish talking about the art.
Well, then go.
Okay.
Keep talking.
So, I've made a little bit, at least for right now, I've made one that is a little bit simpler. So, we can do that, and we can have that, I don't know, either be on some things or all the things. It depends on how we feel about it. I think there's maybe a couple logistical things we'll have to talk about with the picture a little bit more. Because I could either have it be very simple and just basically say passion for your passions, or I could put things on there, maybe less things, but put some things on there that are more relevant to the things that we've talked about. I could also have a picture of us running into the sunset. I don't know.
High-fiving.
Yeah.
We used to be obsessed with high-fiving for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
On swings.
Yeah, on swings, and then we tried to do the ultimate high-five and, like, hurt ourselves really badly.
It's real painful.
Dumb shit Julie and Krista did for whatever reason.
Cause each other a lot of pain.
Woo! I think that was mostly me, because I had brothers.
No, I mean, because there was also that time where we would just pile clothes on top of each other. Clothes
You
and
started
blankets
that.
and this and that, and just like basically attempting to suffocate each other for some reason.
You started that because you don't like to yell. So to wake me up, you just start piling stuff on top of me until I woke up in fear. I remember specifically one time there was like this pillow my mom used in her Bronco because like it was a really firm pillow so it wouldn't sink. And so this thing was fucking solid. And Krista just like whap this like threw it on me. I swear to God I had a heart attack. I was like, what just happened? Like, I remember that so vividly. You put the fear of God in me before I was conscious. Like, oh man.
That wasn't even what I was talking about. Because I remember because there's a picture. I think Mother has it. A picture of like me, just the bottom half of my body. And we covered just piles, like huge piles of blankets. And I don't know why we did that. That we went through a phase where we're like, let's see how many blankets I can physically put on top of Krista and then take a picture of her.
Yeah, there's a picture of the reverse too where you're like doing the peace sign while I was sitting there covered in blankets.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna post these photos for everyone.
Yeah, that's what will be the intro picture now. It's
No,
just a
it's just
picture
a
of one of
picture.
us with peace signs and blankets and stuff
Yeah.
on top. Or me whapping you with a pillow.
Jesus,
One of
that's
those
crazy.
two things.
Yeah, I like it.
We'll see. We'll have to talk about it, but I think at least right now I have something that is a little bit better.
Yeah, and so you're working on the artwork, and then I'm revamping the music, which few ideas I have is every piece will be 3 parts. So it'll have the intro and the exit, and then the middle piece that basically like ties them together and is a loop,
Mhm.
so we can have however much time. But I was thinking there would be 3 different types of pieces. There'd be one that's Julie's theme when it's a Julie's episode, and then there's a Krista theme and it's a Krista episode. And then the third one will be for whatever, like our combined episodes or guest episodes.
Yeah, just a really random one for when we have guests.
I just
on.
want like weird trumpet music and like shit. Just as loud as possible. I will go like borrow a trumpet. I'll do all of it electronic, and then at the end have the real trumpet. Like just make the dumbest noise I can make.
Man, I love like Foley work and stuff too, you know. So like Foley work, like when people do the shoe sounds, or like when they have to make the noise for when people are doing physical things in a movie. So it's just the idea of somebody with a trumpet just right up to the mic and just
as soft as possible while being obnoxious. I'll have Fluff do some noises like in the background.
Do you think that you can make him do it?
I talk to him all day.
But into the mic though, that's the thing.
All I'd have to do is put the mic down when he's sleeping and then just touch him and he that's what he does. I could do it. We'll have a Fluff song.
That would be good. For when we have the Cats episode.
Yeah.
Well, not Cats the musical, just cats in general.
Just the animal, the creature.
I don't want to talk about
We're
Cats.
We're not talking about Cats the musical.
I've never watched it. I don't have plans on it.
I mean, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, so I have appreciated some of the music, but
I'm sure the music is fine. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of things that kind of weirds me out about Cats. And like, I get that people like it, and there's no shame. I mean, I love cats in real life. It's not that. It's just more, I think every time I've seen it, I'm like, I don't really want to watch this anthropomorphic cat person be horny.
That seems
not
strange.
Not something that appeals to me.
This is where furries were born.
From Cats the musical.
Exactly.
For sure.
Oh yeah. So, we're doing the revamp. I guess, is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you want to get to our stats?
I guess one thing is do we have a time in mind for when we do want to do the revamp? Will it just be the new year?
I thought that was always the plan. It's just like new year, new us, new podcast that no one listens to, you know, stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Okay. So then, you know, we'll just make more goals. 2022. Maybe.
This is our year.
Maybe things will be better.
We'll amp up. Yeah.
Maybe.
Harry Potter's gonna blow up!
Well, I just more meant with the world.
Oh.
Because, you know, we did that was another thing that we could talk about, past, present, future, I don't know. We did a very bang-up job of not talking about that at all. I don't think that we talked about the thing that happened in 2020 basically at all.
Well, we weren't supposed to, I thought.
Yeah.
So we were like, wait, we're not, because there was a whole thing that social media not supposed to, like, talk about it.
Yeah.
That is how the government works.
But I was kind of surprised that we didn't ever just talk about it. I guess we were like, you know, this is for escapism.
Yeah, this is so we don't have to deal with that. Because it was every single day. You're having a conversation about a disease or about politics, and it was just exhausting. And that was one of the reasons why we created this. Because we're like, okay, let's talk about other things that are enjoyable to talk about, people. Like, someone should listen to this so that they don't have to talk about why they hate this person now and why this works this way, and just
basically the world is on fire over there, and then here is our podcast,
and here's our kiddie pool that is the podcast.
We're talking about authors with bad lives. We're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. We got gardening. There's baking. You can listen to our long tirade about video games, which, you know, I mean, someday I do want to talk about video games again, but maybe in a different way. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe, spoiler alert, maybe we'll talk about it in the next episode.
Da-da-da.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. Stats. How we've been doing. Numbers. Math. You put up the picture of that meme of that lady with all the numbers. Yes. That's this part. So, how have we been doing? What are our best episodes?
We want to do this because Krista and I are number people. Like, that just makes sense to us.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers aren't great, but they're kind of funny.
No, they're not bad.
No.
I mean, we're doing pretty well for like a first time, you know, podcast.
Well, I don't think we had very many expectations. We're like, will anyone listen? That'd be cool. And then just, I think because of that, it's not like soul crushing in any way. It's just kind of funny, I guess. Like I think it's mostly funny just how tapered it gets. So, like, the intro, it's like all of our friends and family are like, yeah, we support you. And then, no.
Yeah, which, you know.
Which always happens. Like, I'm not upset at anybody. It's just always funny to see that, like, yeah, big spike. I didn't like it, apparently. Like, it wasn't good enough that I wanted to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. There is that. That's just kind of one of the things. I can't really blame people. I've definitely done stuff
Yeah, I've
like
done the
that
same
before, so. But I mean, you know, I'm glad for the people who do listen and the people who keep trying, keep giving us a shot, and you know, I mean, hopefully we only get better, and hopefully eventually we can widen our audience. And I've been trying to do some things to do that. I've not really had a lot of things that have worked, but it's just going to take effort, and I know that that's just the case. That's the whole thing about widening an audience, is you just
I'm doing my part
and stuff.
I'm getting all these fools. They're
Yeah.
here. I mean, nothing. You guys are great. Whoever's listening.
The people I'm entrapping.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm entrapping you for podcasts.
For podcasts, not dates. So whatever you're doing with that. I'm using my feminine wiles.
No, I mean, I get some people sometimes, and I mean, I have been trying with YouTube. YouTube is kind of weird, because I will say that's one thing about the numbers, is that YouTube will not show up in this.
Oh, okay.
Which is strange. I don't know why. Like, you can put your podcasts on YouTube. So, which, by the way, we do have stuff on YouTube. I try to post it and put it out there. But for some reason, it doesn't show up in these numbers.
So our numbers could be double. Look at that.
They could be.
It could be.
All right. So go through the numbers.
Well, apparently, as of the numbers when I downloaded them, so they could be a lot greater at this moment.
Yeah,
suddenly.
we could have become popular.
Yeah, someone could have just found us and everything's great.
Like, this is
This is the last episode. We're not famous. But so far we've had 112 downloads, which I don't really know what that number means per se. Like, does that mean specifically from a certain place? Or is it like, in general, they listen to it on these different platforms? Like, the numbers didn't really depict their specificity.
Yeah, so that is the thing that kind of confuses me about Podbean. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we would ever want to change to something different, but I'm pretty sure from the way that I understand it, which granted may not be very much, I think it's literally just people who download it onto their phone.
Okay.
I think that is all that it is, which is weird, which is why I said, like, for example, with YouTube doesn't show up on that, because YouTube is just a view. People don't
So I guess
download it.
if we do like an end of the year summary, we'll like get really specific numbers where we're like, this is our graph. These are the numbers. Like, this is what we know to be true. And just like,
We'll just put pie charts on
yes,
Facebook.
we'll just have like all of these graphs on there. Like, this is the kind of nerd we are. But I guess the other statistic that I found funny is that apparently we've hit 2 countries that are not the United States, and that's Brazil and Ghana. And I was like, who did that?
I know. But that was one of our goals, though. So we did it. We made it.
Woo!
Because one of the goals was, like, I really just want some guy from, like, Sweden or something to find this and be like, what the fuck? So I really hope that happened to you, guy in Ghana, who listened one time and then never came back.
I heard that's what happened. You're just like, this is strange. What the hell are they talking about?
Those 2 people in Brazil, I hope you had an experience. I don't know. Magical for a moment.
But other than that, I guess it's hard to say what our most popular episode is, because I literally think it's just tapering off, because it's like episode 1 and episode 2. So the one that really sticks out would be the baking and the comedy after that. Because it's, if you just ignore like the first 2 where people, like I said, literally just tapered off after that, then people liked baking and comedy. I think the comedy title is probably why they picked it. I think that's my favorite title, is comedy TV. I like it because I'm depressed.
Yeah. And then I guess I could see why people would like baking. Like, I think baking's a fairly neutral hobby. It's not, like, so out there. Like, I think most people like a muffin. You know?
You don't know.
Most people would kill for a cupcake.
I mean,
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
there's a whole song about these problems, people.
Hey, also, listeners, making a Klondike bar is not baking.
Right.
Do not bake your Klondike.
Do not bake your Klondike bars. You've heard it here. That's top-notch advice right there.
Yeah, that's the advice that we're giving on our advice podcast. That's what it is now. It's an advice
We're just going to say the dumbest that, like, hey, you shouldn't eat plastic.
That's it. That's the advice.
That's it. That's my advice for the day.
Don't
Live
bake
long and prosper.
If you bake a Klondike bar,
it won't be a Klondike bar anymore.
would probably taste good, but, like, it's not what you're after.
No, it's not what we're aiming for here.
On YouTube, our statistics are basically Authors with Bad Lives, we got 19 views. Lilo and Stitch, we got 3 views. Marvel Face Off, we got 13 views. And then Gardening, we don't have any views, and I'm not really sure why that is. It's kind of weirds me out. I don't know if it might have been something about how we pushed it, because I think it does actually have a fair amount through the other platforms. Maybe it just like didn't get pushed properly to YouTube. But we do have some other views. I don't know what that means. That could mean that they listened to 3 seconds of it and turned it off. But
hey,
it's views. We're getting somewhere.
Success.
So that's good. And then, I mean, honestly, it's really, we're doing all right with the views. It's, obviously, we're just starting out. So it's not going to be
Why am I not famous yet? Come on, you promised me.
I
You promised me fame.
We made an unbreakable vow. So
Why are you Harry Potter again?
I'm here till the end. Because I guess the other thing would just be like the blood. Just a normal blood ritual.
Blood pact.
Yeah, we just made a normal
suicide pact.
blood pact. Completely non-Harry Potter related. Actually, in Harry Potter, it doesn't involve blood.
There you go.
So, I mean, I think that's really it for the statistics part of it. I mean, you know, obviously we would like to have more people and, you know, yada yada. But I think we're doing pretty good. And from what I understand about this, we're really not doing that badly.
Okay.
We have people who are listening. That's kind of the thing. And it just takes time to grow it. And also part of it is figuring out somewhere to put it where people will listen.
Right.
And that's kind of been part of the problem that I've been having. It's because, like, podcasts are weird because you can have it on Spotify or you can have it on, I don't know, Apple Podcasts or whatever. But then it's like, how do you encourage people to go listen to something new?
When you don't have a ton of money to throw at it.
Well, also, if it's just on YouTube, like, you know, on YouTube you can kind of search things. I don't think, like, you really do
passion for your
that.
passion.
Yeah. Well, not even just that. Like, it's like, I feel like most of the time podcasts are kind of word of mouth, you know?
Or surfing. Like, you're like, I need a gardening podcast. And they look for a specific. Well, ours is very like, whatever we feel like.
Yeah. I think for our first half of the year, for 6 months in, we're doing all right.
We're figuring things out. We've gotten more comfortable. We're sitting into like our regular system of things. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. There's a word and it's not in my brain right now and I don't know why.
The big negative is that we just keep talking about Harry Potter too much.
It seems like we had a spell where we didn't. Okay? You brought it back.
Maybe it's because I realized that we have to talk about it soon.
Yes.
That might be what the problem is.
Get your brain on it.
We talk about other things, but I think that that's going to be the next episode.
Right.
The random other things episode.
Exactly.
So, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe this is just a short little romp of us talking about, you know, our channel, where we're going to go, who we're going to be, the future.
The future is now, my friends.
I don't know if it's exciting. I don't know if anybody
really
cares.
Sucks. No one cares.
I don't know if I'm just shouting into the void and hoping that somebody finds some of this interesting. I mean, I find parts of it interesting because I don't super hear people talk about this all the time. Like the stuff with the mics. I hear people complaining about mics all the time, but it's like, let's get really into the nitty gritty of why audio
Why we
sucks.
fucking hate this.
Yeah. Let's really talk about what it's like to just listen to your voice 20 times until you just want to just stab that pencil right in between your eyes.
Yeah.
Joker style.
Magic trick. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why so quickly, like once a YouTuber or anybody gets any sort of fame, they're like, all right, now I have someone to do all my editing for me because fuck that shit.
Yeah, and it's weird too because I don't have a problem listening to you, really.
I don't have a problem listening to you.
It's just me.
Yeah, it's just me.
And not even as much as it used to be. I'm not as annoyed by it. I do definitely still have my moments, though. I definitely still have my moments where I'm like, I said like 10 times.
Why do I do this? I remember when Mother really hated that we did that. And then she hated we said random so many times.
And then we start coming up with different ways to say
I was
random.
so unsystematically haphazard. She's like, what is wrong with you? She's like, you did this. Except you banned a word from us. You said we weren't allowed to say the word random anymore.
So what else were we going to
What were we
say
gonna do?
when things were random? You know, somebody else was talking to me about that at work, saying that that's like a millennial thing.
Saying it's so random or epic.
This must be something that I'm not aware of that happened maybe when we were children or something. Because I don't know why that would be. Why would we just all say random?
Well, I think it's the adulting, random, rar. Like, there's just a handful of these things that happened to our generation that we tend to say more than anybody else.
I don't know, but this person who was like an older person, he was kind of annoyed by it, basically. Being like, why do you guys always do that and stuff? And it's just like, I don't know.
That's really random, man.
I don't know. I just speak and words come out and it's like all fluff. What do you want from me?
I just live here, man.
Whenever something weird happens, I stick my hand in the void and I pull the word
some words
random.
out. Random just happens to always randomly be there, man.
Okay. Well, I think that we've exhausted this, so I think that's it. We're hoping that for those of you who keep listening, if you want to tell us what we've been doing right, what we've been doing wrong,
Give us
you know,
some
whatever.
shit. Nobody's critiqued us. Everybody's like, it's really nice. And we're just in there. That's not helpful. You need
Yeah.
to tell us what we're doing wrong. Other than the stuff we've mentioned where we're just saying, yeah, sometimes the sound just doesn't fucking work for whatever reason. But
So, you know, the thing that I always like to do when I give somebody a complaint is to also give them a compliment. And I
Right.
try very hard to be genuine about both.
Exactly.
Which I know is hard for some people. But, like, even if I hate something, it's still like, look, like, you have an audience. Maybe it's just not me.
mm-hmm.
There's things about this that are fine. It's just I might not be. I listened because for a while I was listening to more indie podcasts, and that is something that I want to get back into. It's just, I don't know. I go through weird loops with the things that I watch media-wise, and I'm on a current loop of, like, Mabim Bam. So, anyway, I was listening to some of these, like, smaller podcasts, and I would do that. I would, you know, kind of be like, oh, here's a critique and here is a complaint, you know, just to, and for one of them, I told him, I was like, you know, this is fine. I don't think this is for me, though. You had some things in there that I thought were good, but you also had some things in there where I thought it was annoying, but I didn't say that part of it. I didn't say that part of it because I didn't want to be, you know, a giant jerk. It was just kind of more like, I don't know if these work.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah. So.
No, I don't know. I get very analytical when I'm complimenting somebody. So I will say very specific things, and then there'll be always a critique where I say, well, if this is what you're going for, I think if you made this adjustment, it would be more clear. Like, that tends to be what I do, especially with music. People will send me stuff with music. And someone sent me, like, a jazz piece, and I said, you're too bouncy. It sounds beach. Like, it doesn't sound jazz. It sounds like you're on a beach because of how the tone works. If you make it less bouncy and make it more smooth and, like, flow into each other, it would be a jazz piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't just go, well, it was a beautiful piece and I loved it. But I also didn't go, well, I hated it and it didn't sound like it was supposed to. Like, I usually give you a very specific, like, this is what you need to fix. And then if there was something really good, then I go, you need to keep that. Like, that really hit. And I like that. So I think I tend to critique more than I compliment, but I do try to do both, like you said.
Yeah. Well, it's just because, you know, you don't want to completely razz on somebody, you know, because if you do, you've lost them.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to, like, if you're just going to sit there and shit on somebody, it's like, okay, well, you're not my audience, so there we are. But it's like, you know, I think even if you don't like something, there are still things that you can say that can be helpful.
Right.
It's like, you know, maybe I don't think that this bit that you're doing quite works the way that you want it to. Or, you know, maybe you need to have less bits. It's just from a logistical standpoint, so I don't think it works if you got 20 bits. It's just bits.
You're making me think of 30 Rock when, you made me think of the 30 Rock bit where Lemon has to go to Jenna's plays and everything. And so she's like, I always find us something to compliment. Man, these brochures were really clear on what...
Yeah.
The lighting was great.
Well, Well, no, I mean, especially if I take the time to listen to like an indie podcast, it's like I want to give them something, like, because that's the same thing that I want, is I want people to tell me something. So that's what I'm saying. I'm putting this out here. This is a free to anybody who does listen to this. Tell us something.
But you can shit on us if you want. We're fine taking that.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, so if you want to do it anonymously,
there
that's,
you go. Yeah,
that's the place.
You guys' voice sounds like gravel and hatred, and I hate you. Like, good on us. All right, we'll work on it.
I'll become less gravelly. It's very hard. I don't like my voice. I get it.
I understand your complaint, sir. I feel it in my soul as well.
I will get vocal cord surgery.
Let's do this. Go team, go. This was Passion for Your Passions with Julie
and Krista, where this time we talked about our show. Next time, we talk about all the things you need to know. You gots to know.
You gots to know! I want to go in here and just put in a fart noise. Just a noise we made instead of actually putting in what we said. But
Okay.
you,
I mean, if that's what you want to do, you have the
this
power.
is my power.
Yeah, this is your episode.
I'm so doing that shit. I really want a Klondike bar now, you son of a bitch.
What would you do for a Klondike
I
bar?
sell my spleen and give a scream. That's the thing I made up.
I'd kill my co-host.
Well, Jesus. I was quirky and fun, and you got extreme.
Okay.